Brooke Johnson. I am a women's empowerment YouTuber, and I'm currently skating across America to raise money for spinal cord research. My inspiration for this massive skating journey was my stepdad Roger. He passed away of a spinal cord injury, and it was an unfortunate accident. It was the day before his 71st birthday, and he stepped out of the hot tub and fell off a step and then broke his C5 vertebrae, and he became an instant quadriplegic. And so my family was completely just taken back. Our whole house was not accessible, was not ready for someone in a wheelchair. We were not ready for someone in a wheelchair. They were going on a cruise in a week, and so everything had to be put on pause. And what I started realizing, here, I'm gonna shut this because that might be picking up. What I started realizing from that whole entire journey, so up until his passing, so he had his surgery, and his surgery went well. He was in the ICU for several weeks, and then they moved him to a step-down care unit because they were like, oh, we don't need you in the ICU anymore, you're doing really well. And because there's not enough research on spinal cord injuries, they just sent him to a long-term care facility that will hopefully help wean him off of a ventilator. And it was the only place where he could get weaned off a ventilator in Washington State, which is crazy. Coming out of COVID, you'd think we would have more places, but we didn't. And the other places we wanted to send him were full, and so this was our only option. And so we sent him there, and he was very terrified and very scared. He's like, I don't want to die here. And everyone in the hospital who was working there was basically it just felt like everyone was foreign, which isn't a problem. But the problem is that it was really hard to communicate with anyone. No one knew about his injury. No one knew how to treat his injury. He needed to be rotated every 30 minutes, and it was just not happening. And if you don't rotate a spinal cord injury patient or massage his legs or help keep blood flow going, you leave serious risk for blood clot and then heart attack, which is what happened. And which is how he passed away, was just lack of care in a long-term care facility that is supposed to be equipped for all types of injuries, but they weren't. And a lot of the nurses were pregnant, and so they couldn't move a 275-pound man. I don't even know, maybe he was 200 pounds. He was big. He's 6'5". maybe taller. Maybe shorter. I don't know. He was just big compared to me. I'm 5'2". But moving him around with full dead weight with no muscle ability is really heavy. And the nurses were not able to do that. They didn't have anyone to do that. I don't blame them, but also at the same time, it's don't accept a patient you can't care for. So I saw a lot into the medical system while being there. But I told him, I said, hey, you know what? This is going to be really expensive. You being a quadriplegic is going to be super expensive. I'll skate across America to raise money for you. And raise money for our house remodel and to get everything accessible. The hospital bills are going to be endless for the rest of your life. And he was like, perfect, I will skate with you. And he's like, will you push me? Because I can't skate. And so I ended up telling him, yeah, I'm going to skate across a country. And he said, cool, America? And I was like, Roger, it's a big country. And he's like, well, you know what, you could do it. Okay, but it's a really big country. And so then he ended up passing away, and I told him I would skate across America for him. So here we are, skating across America right now. We're on mile 200. I think we hit 200 today. We're higher than 200 today? No.
150.
150? No.
Closer. 150?
150? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're on mile 150 today. I thought we were higher. I thought we were 178.
It's higher than 150. I haven't done that.
Okay, cool. We're somewhere around the 200 range. We're gonna round up. Make myself feel better. It's been a long journey so far. But yeah, so I started putting this team together, and started making it happen. And we're partnered with Wings for Life, which is a charity that helps support people who have spinal cord injuries, but most importantly, it raises money for spinal cord research, which is something that there's a lot of, there's just not a lot of funding in the space to like deal with arguably our most important piece of our body. It's the trunk of your body. It's like the thing that holds your leaves together, your limbs. Like it's the thing that grounds you. It's the thing that allows you to move. It's the thing that allows you to think, swivel. It sends all of your information throughout your whole entire body. It is the thing that keeps you alive. And to know that there's not enough research around it is quite unsettling. Because if I ever get that, if any of my friends ever get that, like, what are we going to do? Is it possible to walk again? Like, if it's possible to break, is it possible to fix? I'm a firm believer it is, but it's going to take time. So with that, that's why I chose Wings for Life as our partner, which I'm really excited about. But that's the ultimate reason why I'm skating across America. It's very long, but there you go. Cool. Why did I choose skateboarding as my method of travel? I chose skateboarding as my method of travel because it's something I'm good at. And I had already done LA to Mexico, which was 178 miles. We did that in 3 days. We were hauling at a good pace. To be fair, a lot of that was flat for the first like several miles. First like 20 miles. And then I was like, I could probably do that across the country. And then I thought like, oh, why not try? So here we are trying. What is the most memorable part of the journey so far? The most memorable part of the journey so far has been starting. They always say like, the hardest part is to start. And it's one thing to say it, it's one thing to do it. And like once I started pushing, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. It just feels like a skate down my old street, like around down the block. But I think today it really hit me when I like looked back around the canyon and was like, oh, I skated that, which was like really far, and there's a highway, and I'm like on the side of the road, and I can just hear my mom in my head like, you're a dumbass, like what are you doing, like what? But yeah, definitely starting. And I think every day I have to start every day. That's the thing, is like that's still the hardest part, is waking up every day and be like, I have to start. But once I get going, object in motion stays in motion. So very, very much so. You got to start rolling the ball, and I luckily have an awesome team behind me to be like, Brooke, get out the door, like leave. Handing me my backpack. I start to feel a little pushed out of the van. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm not needed here. Gotta go. Which feels great. Has there been any moment where I've said, I want to stop or I'm done? No. I thought about it the other day, and I thought about this question of like, what if I stopped? Not like I want to. It was like, I was just skating. I was like, what happens if I just stop and go home now? And I was like, I would just sit at home and do nothing, which would be like super lame. So I have nothing else to do. So why would I stop? It just doesn't make any sense. And I think like if I pass my trajectory date and I'm still skating past 70 days and we're at like 76 days, like I've given myself a buffer zone of like, I'm okay with 76 days, but I'm not okay with 77, you know? And so I think that's when I'll be like, go, you know? And that's when I would consider stopping, is like if my money runs out. Like that's why most projects stop. But there's before I did this journey, I read a book by it's called The Endurance by, I don't know the author, but it's about Ernest Shackleton and like the best survival story in the world. How these guys in like the 1930s basically crashed a ship. They were going to do like the first world's Antarctic expedition, and they crashed their ship in Antarctica, and there's like 25 of them, and Ernest Shackleton is their leader, and he stayed incredibly optimistic the whole entire time. And he was like, no guys, we can survive. You know how long they survived? 2 freaking years in Antarctica, in a place that no man has ever gone they survived. Ernest literally like hiked multiple mountains in gear that was not equipped for this weather to save his team. And if they can survive in Antarctica for 2 years, I can cross the US. Like, that's just doesn't, you know? So there's no option to say no. It's just a matter of like, if any of them want to stay with me, if it's past 77 days for free. Like, that's kind of the only thing, is like, you guys can keep hanging out if you want. We'll probably be sick of each other. But, no, it's a beautiful thing. I think Ernest definitely keeps me going. I'll put on the endurance while I'm skating and listen to a clip. So, has this journey that I'm on right now changed me in any way? This journey so far has made me... I think the hardest part of this journey is running a team. No offense, y'all. I've never had to run a team before, and it's very new to me. And there's a lot that goes into it, and structuring people while I'm doing like the hardest feat of my life is quite possibly the most difficult thing to do. It's like I'm constantly throwing things at them and like expecting them to pick it up. Like, hey, I need this, or I need you to do this. And it's like, that's not how an optimal team runs, but it's like how we have to run this show, because it's like we're on the road. It's very chaotic, and it's very much so... I mean, it runs like the music industry. I used to work in the music and touring industry, and like that's kind of how it runs. Is like everyone does 60 different jobs all the fucking time, and if you don't do that, then you just do like the one thing, then everyone's like, ah. So it's like as I'm doing this, I'm like learning how to lead. Everyone has a different like feedback style. Everyone has a different like workflow, working time. Lloyd likes to edit at night. Like, my man's is like up in the wee hours of the night editing. I have to sleep. So it's like making sure all the jobs are getting done, while also making sure the one thing that I have to do gets done. Because the only way we keep moving is if I keep moving. So leading while doing something hard is definitely something that I'm evolving into. It's definitely going to make me a better person after this. Definitely become a better leader. Yeah, I'm also learning that I hate bad drivers. That's the other one. I love a good middle finger to a bad driver. And I love it even more if they almost hit me. Like, I'm just like, pull me in. Like, I still want to fight them. Like, I definitely yelled at a lady today who literally started yelling at me. I was like, I can't. That was like the worst energy exchange at 9 a.m. that I could ever ask for. I didn't want it. But like at the same time, I'm like, I have just skated 100 miles and now this lady's just yelling at me because she didn't get her coffee on time and she didn't get to make her right-hand turn. I'm like, be so for real. Like, so what am I learning about myself is that some people still drive me nuts. And that's okay. And that's friggin' how the world turns. We all live in this place together. So it's hard to give grace when you're tired. It's another thing I'm learning. It's like you just really try and you're like, I need to put myself in the corner. Timeouts for adults is something we should do more of. I sometimes need a timeout. Today I needed a timeout, and that just was my head in the refrigerator. Just learning how to control my emotions a little bit more. So experienced weird, funny encounters. The people on the roads of America are all funny. Everyone's funny in their own way. I've experienced some really beautiful things. Everything seems to work out, which is wild. And I truly believe everyone's inherently kind. At the core of every human who's ever been born, I think kindness is at the root of everyone. And I think everyone is oftentimes operating at the best they can be. I really like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and it has honestly shined throughout this whole entire trip so far. And yesterday specifically, I had met this guy named Darnell, and Darnell said, hey, like, good luck on your skate, you're doing great. And Then, like a few miles down the road, I had waved my driver off to the side of the road, and I had stopped at a stop sign. I was just like, I'm going to brake here, like, whatever. And then he was like, this Darnell's car comes back up next to the green cricket van. And he's talking to my driver, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and I was like, Alex waves me over. He's like, hey, come over here. Okay, cool. Darnell, I thought he was going to be like, oh, this is so cool. No. People always amaze me. And Darnell was like, hey, can I pray over you? I haven't been prayed over since I was like in 8th grade youth camp. And Darnell was like, boom, instant prayer. And I just like, I started crying because like being 28 years old, there's a lot of people, like when I turned 21, I left the church, I left all my faith. I was like, I don't need this. Like, this is just wild. Like, no. I just dropped it off my back and was like, who needs spirituality? Who needs faith? And as I'm stepping into my later 20s, I'm coming back around to spirituality, and I don't know what type it is. And I joked to my friend, I was like, maybe I'll find God out there. Yesterday, we're rolling on the streets. It was Easter, on Easter, we're rolling on the streets. There's Bible verses written on my whole entire path of like the most motivating Bible verses you can find, not the ones that make you kind of your blood curdle, like the ones that are like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like, thanks. I'm so glad that's here for me right now. I need that motivation. And then Darnell starts praying over me. Like, not saying I'm going full-blown Christianity right now, but what I am saying is like spirituality, there's spirit, there is something bigger than all of us out here, and I'm slowly starting to chip away at that. And that's what's really beautiful, is like most people find God on a journey like this, and it's definitely very apparent why, because kindness is overflowing through humans. Of course you're going to get a Karen or two, but that's just to keep you humble. That's just to remind you you're human. But you're going to get more kindness than Karens, which is really beautiful, and it's really awesome. I think about this one a lot. What's the message I hope people take away from this trip? I was thinking about it today. I was singing about it on the road. I sing to myself when I'm skating by myself. I haven't been listening to a lot of music. Side note. I listen to a lot of music typically, but I find that measuring myself in music is really, it makes every mile seem longer. So I've been really like just listening to audiobooks that just don't stop, or just nothing. And I made a video today to my niece. And I was like, hey, it's Auntie Brooke. Like, I'm skating out here for Papa Roger. And I don't want you to try this at home. Then I was thought to myself, I was like, I kind of want her to try this at home. Like, I kind of want her to go do something like this when she grows up. And it's funny because as adults, we start to say that to kids. We're like, yeah, you know, don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. It's like, no, try this at home. That's kind of the message. The message is try this at home. Like, do something that scares you. Do something that makes you feel so uncomfortable and so, like, pushed and beat down to the brim, so you can find, like, where your grit is, like, pulled from. There's a lot of people who are going to judge this trip based off of the fact that I have a team. And I like to tell them, you know, I'm just, like, the other guys found their grit a different place. Like, they raw dogged all of America, no team, no nothing, just them and a skateboard, which I have a lot of respect for. I'm also a woman, and so I do things a little bit better and a little bit more comfy, because I don't care. I'm still doing the same amount of miles. I'm still pushing. My van is not driving me. They just follow me around. My beckoning call, here they come. But the thing I really want, I don't want my feet to be discounted because I have amenities. It's still just as hard. My body still hurts just as much. But the thing that, like, I really want people to take away from this is, like, you can do this with just a skateboard and a backpack if you want to. But also, there was a guy who pulled up on the side of the road yesterday. He's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to skate across America too. A little cracky. You can leave that out. But we all know, like, that type of energy. But then I was like, I come from a family who I have like several family members who are very similar to that type of energy. I was like, okay, how can I, like, still inspire this man without inspiring him to go across the country? And I realized it. The reason I'm doing this whole thing too is there's a Japanese term called the misogi, and a misogi is 1 year defining goal that you choose to do that's going to define that year. So maybe it's you run a 5K for the first time. Maybe it's you run a marathon for the first time. Maybe you go to the gym every single day for a whole entire month that year. That's your misogi, something that challenges you mentally, physically, and emotionally. Something that really just, like, gets into your head. Tomorrow is going to be it's going to get into my head. It's going to be really hard. I'm going to want to quit tomorrow. I know that. And I'm not going to quit. And I also know that. There's a weird dichotomy there. It's like, I know I'm going to feel this and I know I'm not going to do that. But you're constantly, like, you have to start every single push every single day. Like, every one is a new one. But this term, the misogi, I explained it to these people who pulled over on the side of the road, and I was like, listen, like, you don't have to go across the country. Maybe you cross a state. Maybe you choose, like, Rhode Island. Small state. And so I broke it down for him and was like, hey, maybe it's a 5K. And he was like, wow, that's a really good idea. And so for everyone, it looks different. It doesn't have to be this big. Like, don't compare yourself, but choose something that you are going to allow to define that year that's going to challenge you mentally, physically, and emotionally. And just, like, go out there and do it. It's very simple. It's going to scare you, but the hardest part, like I said earlier in my first question, is starting. Like, you just have to start. You just have to wake up and start doing it and chip at it slowly, and you're going to get there. Like, I chipped at 100 and, I don't know, almost 200 miles this week, very slowly, but we're doing it. That's all that matters. What is my gear? My gear for this trip is I'm using an Under Armour backpack with a camelback. I am using a Garmin GPS. It's plugged in over there. It's a wristwatch. I was using a Garmin bike GPS, but the threshold for movement on the bike GPS is lower. It's a $700 GPS that literally won't track you if you're walking. Who invented that? Garmin? I don't know. We need to fix it. Bad idea. But my boyfriend gave me his Garmin watch, which I wear throughout the day. I don't love having it on because it's super big at night. I then have these, like, I don't know where they are. They're somewhere in here, but they're compression calf thingies. My calves are so big and swollen right now. But I put those on to prevent shin splints. So a lot of people will use compression after they have shin splints, but if you use them as a preventative, you're less likely to get those. So let's freaking hope that that's true. Let's hope. I'll tell you in next week how my shins are doing. But right now they feel really great. I feel awesome. I've been sleeping with compression stuff on. I slept with them on last night. It helps blood flow through the muscles and helps muscle recovery. Ice bathing. I wear a regular skate shoe. So I'm wearing, like, a Karyuma skate shoe. I like to switch my shoes throughout the day. A lot of people who do this stuff only have one pair of shoes. Love that for them. I'm a woman. We have 12. So bear with me. It's just how we do it. I'm still a girl. Even though out there I don't look like a girl sometimes. I look like Brock, my alter ego. Okay, underneath is still a very feminine woman. I have to remind everyone that. I'm a hot girl. Do hot girl things. Like, have 12 pairs of shoes. It's very crucial to my success. everywhere I travel, even when I backpack, I always bring minimum 6 pairs of shoes. Like, I literally cannot bring any less. I've tried. I wear every single one of them. And everyone's like, no, there's no way. I do. It's a thing. So switching out your shoes is really important. That's also just important for your feet, the health of your feet. A lot of people, if you stay in one pair, your feet get, like, they start to hate you. They're just, like, bottled up. And so I like to give them different options to prevent plantar fasciitis. Because that's a thing, if you didn't know. You could get that. I don't want that. That's lame. Goodbye heels. I like shoes. And then, yeah, what else? Nothing really. I have my, like, headphones that are, they have no, like, they don't plug my ears. They're not in-ear headphones. They're, like, bone headphones. Don't know that. Whoever invented that, genius. But that way I can hear the cars. I also wear a helmet. Today was the first day I whipped out the helmet because we were going on the highway. Brock was in full force. That's the alter ego that comes out and I don't look like the girly girl that I am. And I think that's just super important to me, is, like, having the helmet on in moments like that. Like, I'm raising money for spinal cord research. I don't want to be a spinal cord research patient. I think that's, like, pretty simple. Please do the math there. Like, it just makes sense. But I also have a bunch of safety gear as well. So when we get into, like, the bigger hills and stuff, I have knee pads. I have my wrist guards. I have my pucks for sliding on downhills. Like, I'm not great at sliding on downhills, but I have all the gear that I need to be successful if I need to fall. So if there's one word to describe this trip, what would that word be and why? I thought of two.
That's okay.
I'm not a one-word girly. I can't do it. There's too many good ones.
Okay.
But there is one that I have mentioned in this interview already that I would like to... There's two that I've mentioned that I would like to come back to. One is grit. I think most people don't have enough of it. Or most people don't go searching for it to find it, to put it in their arsenal. I think grit comes from really, like, putting yourself in situations where you have to pull yourself out of it by yourself with your head. There's, like, a lot of moments on this trip where I'm like, I have to keep pushing. And, like, today was my first full day by myself. My boyfriend was pushing with me the past few days, and so I noticed mentally I was leaning on him a lot. And, like, I would see him slow down, so I would slow down, and that would be okay. But now I have no one to pace off of except my own brain. And I really like that. That's where you find grit, is in this moment of, like, you're looking around and there's no one. Like, my van is, like, they're parked off somewhere. I went up a hill this morning and I was like, oh my God. Like, it's just me. Like, I'm just going to keep going. And that's where you find it, is, like, grit is super important. And I think people really need to have that. The other one is, like, back to the story of the endurance. I was going to say endurance, but I don't like that word in the sense of, like, I like how it's used in the book. Not the type of physical endurance, but it's this mental endurance. It's this positive mindset that you get from staying consistent and persistent in the hardest times, in the deepest, darkest moments, when things get hard, when people start to, like, we're going to experience it as a team, when people start to, like, just get annoyed of each other, and it's just, like, that overlapping. It's like, how do you break that? It's like positive endurance, which is super, super important. And I've never even, like, put those two words together in a sentence, but I think, like, having the ability to just, like, stay positive through something really difficult is grit. I think you have to be like, fuck yeah, we're coming out the other end. Like, we are so coming out in New York. Like, we have to. There's no other option. Even if I have to drag my feet with me, if I have to belly board into New York City, I will. Yeah, so I'm excited.